In today's video, I'm going to show you all my secret chef tips to help you make the best burger at home. We're going to make an amazing burger, starting right now. This is my fresh ground burger meat. I like to grind my own meat fresh. And if you want to see how to do that, I have a full tutorial you can click the link in the description. We have amazing homemade burger buns. These are a fantastic roll. Once you make these, you will never want to buy any from the store again. Great, easy recipe for you to do. If you want to see the full video of these, you can click the link in the description and we'll have that full tutorial as well. We've got dry rub. Not everyone is a believer in rubs on their burgers. I like a little rub on my burger because it makes it taste amazing. Then I've also got some hard pieces of fat, because when I bought my own meat and ground my own meat, I kept some of the hard pieces of fat to give us a little bit of bonus when we're cooking it on a flat top. So I got some sharp white cheddar because I like it, and I got some smoked Gouda because I like it. You get to choose the cheeses that you like as well. Then we got a little bit of butter because we're going to use that to toast up those buns beautifully before we eat them. I also like to slice my own cheese and buy it in big blocks, because when you get cheese that's already shredded, it has a little anti-caking on it. This cheese will be fresher, it'll taste better, it'll be less expensive, and then you can use it for grating for some other menu, or you can slice it up like we're doing today. Hey, if you're learning something, hit the like button and subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of our channel. So next up, we're gonna get the buns ready. So we're gonna take these and gently slice them in half. Let the knife do the work, okay? And anytime your knife goes sideways, your hand should go flat, okay? So as my pan is warming up, we're gonna take some butter and just melt it on there so I can soak it up with my buns. When you put your buns in, give it a little press so you get some contact, trying to get all the bun to touch the bottom of the pan, because that's where all the magic happens. That's where all the butter solids start to caramelize, kind of like that. That's just the beginning. That's a bun worthy of eating. Now it's time to patty up our burger meat. So what I like to do is, and a good tip is to season your meat a little bit on the inside, and we're going to season it on the outside. So I like a little salt, a little pepper, and then mix that in. A lot of times your burger meat, your burgers crack, or your meatloaf cracks, or things like that. And so a tip to help kind of keep everything together is to take your burger meat and just throw it in the bottom of a bowl 5 or 6 times. And what that does is it gets a little bit of air bubbles out, and it helps the meat kind of start sticking together. It takes the fat and uses a little friction to kind of bond some of the meat together. And then from there, I do like to weigh out my burgers so they're all the same size. Because, you know, if you want to be a professional at home or professional anywhere, the consistency of the size really does matter. Weighing it out so that everything looks good when you're presenting it, that's an important tip to make you feel good and feel proud about the cooking that you do, and make everyone else rave about the cooking that you do. So I'm gonna weigh my burgers to 5-ounce patties, and I'm gonna do two patties per burger. So close, that's pretty close. Once you get them all weighed out, then you just want to roll them up like you would think that you're doing for any other burger, right? Give them a press a little bit, roll them out, and then patty them. I like to try to go a little bit thinner on mine. And if you take a great look at the burgers themselves, there's lots of nice fat in there, but a lot of great red, a lot of great meat that's still all a part of it. From here, I'll salt the outside. Okay, and I'm not going to do any pepper because I'm going to do some Creole. So this is one of my dry rubs. I like a little bit of dry rub. If you're a purist, that's okay. You can be a purist and go meat only. And I'm going to flip that over, and we're going to do the other side. Now, I like to go front and back with the seasoning, and I like to see where everything is, so I know how much seasoning I have, where it's at, and if I want to add more or not. If you want to try out this rub, there'll be a link in the description. Take you to a page that you can grab the rub from. Hey, if you're learning something, hit the like button and subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of our channel. Now it's time to cook your burgers. So I'm gonna fire up my Lodge Blacklock deep skillet. It's one of my favorite pans to cook in. What I'm looking for the pan to be too hot to touch right here on the end and too hot to touch here. That means the pan is hot all the way through before you start cooking in it. All right, so the other couple things I'll need, I like some sort of spatula, so I like a wide, flat spatula. That's great. And then this is some hard pieces of fat that we saved when we were butchering our own meat and grinding our own meat. Fat doesn't have a whole lot of flavor when it's cold, but as soon as you start to heat the fat up, it bursts open. And when all those cells, structure opens up, it's been in the past, past decade or so, the tests have come back that there's actually a ton of flavor in the fat, but not until it's heated. And so that's what we're going to do with this today. So as your pan's starting to heat up, I am going to start rendering some of the fat in my pan. So I'm going to take some of the hard fat to put it in the pan. So what I'm looking to do is just get a nice coating of shine of fat from this, and then the burgers, they'll do the rest. So they're coming on to the flat top. As soon as they go on, just give them a little bit of press. Again, do this early, because if you press it after the juices get hot, you start to squeeze the juices out, and that's not what we want. So do your pressing early so we get contact with your burgers on the pan. And then after they get good contact, it's like leave them alone for a minute. While these burgers cook, let me teach you a little bit about how to cook by feel. Everybody wants to learn how to use their fingers and touch and feel and know when something is done. So the quick process is to first understand what happens when you cook a protein. When you cook a protein, the proteins will actually coagulate. They start to get firmer as they cook. So every protein across the world, the more you cook it, the firmer it will get. So if you think about that, like if I took an egg and I cracked it and put it in my hand, and it's going to feel like Jell-O when it's raw. But if I take that egg and throw it in this hot pan, the more you cook it, the firmer it's going to get. And I usually explain this also with like cake batter. It's liquid. You take a liquid cake batter and you pour it into a pan, you put it in the oven for an hour, and you pull it out, and it's firm. So if you ever seen this where you shake your hand out and you press on right here to see how to cook a piece of meat, they say that that's rare. Okay, so it's basically the muscle's really soft. Then you add these two fingers together, and they say that's mid-rare, and then add another finger, that's medium. Add a third one, that's mid-well, and add your pinky, and that becomes well done. So really, all that teaches you is that the more you cook a protein, the firmer it gets. And so you'll be able to feel as you cook your protein that it gets firmer and firmer as you cook. So when you press on these raw burgers, you want to see what happens to your fingerprint. You want to see how it feels, right? When I press on it, my fingerprint stays, and get a good idea for what this this piece of meat, this burger, this cut of steak, whatever it is that you're doing, how it feels. And then as you start to cook your meat, you can press on it every so often, and you'll see a difference in how it responds, how the meat starts to spring back a little bit. It takes a little time to get your hand acclimated or your finger acclimated to what that feels like. But for every cut of meat, whether it's a piece of chicken or steak or these burgers, fish, it doesn't matter. Feel it when it's raw, and then feel it as it cooks. And you'll start to train your brain and your finger to work together to say, oh, that's about medium, or that's still rare. So for us, what we're looking for right now is a nice, crispy outside. Okay? We're looking for a nice, crispy Maillard reaction on the bottom of my burger. And once I hit that, I'm going to flip them over, which I am in good shape. That's why I pressed on it earlier, to get that contact. And I'm going to do a light press on the second side, but you want to be careful not to do too much because you start squeezing your juices out. And give them a feel. This is where you're on the second side, and I can feel that I really am close to medium already because I left it a little bit longer on the first side. Hey, if you're learning something, hit the like button and subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of our channel. Now I'm going to add a little smoked Gouda on 2 of them. And I'm going to add some white cheddar on the others. And then if you don't have a lid for this, which I don't have a lid for this pan, I'm going to improvise. I'm just put a splash of water in there and put a lid on, and we're going to let the steam just melt that cheese over the top. And we're going to put this burger together, and it's going to be fantastic. So my cheese has melted beautifully. And it's time to put these burgers together. Gouda, white cheddar layer, perfect size burger for a beautiful, perfect bun. And here we go, with an amazing burger. Everything made from scratch, and you can do it too. Hey, if you're learning something, hit the like button and subscribe, and then hit the notification bell so you get all of our videos, and there'll be a playlist that puts this whole burger together, from making the bun from scratch, grinding your own meat, and then putting it all together to make amazingness for you at home when you're cooking burgers.